Welcome to the Mindset Architect Podcast, where it's all about creating the life you want, the business you want, and making a real difference. Join us in unlocking the code to true success. And now your host, Tony Caliendo, Master Coach with Rethink Coaching.
Welcome to the Mindset Architect Podcast, episode number 15. I'm Tony Caliendo, Master Coach here at Rethink Coaching. As always, thank you so much for sharing a bit of your day with me and your time. As I always say, time is our most valuable commodity, and the fact that you're willing to invest it with me really means a lot. And it also tells me that you are someone who is looking to expand beyond what they're currently doing and either live your best life or have your best business, or it's a combination of both. So thank you so much for being here. You know, I don't know at what time of year you're going to be listening to this podcast, but conversations I've had recently with a lot of my clients have been based around time. And having some conversations of, I just feel like I ran out of time, or I feel like this year went by in such a hurry that I didn't get to accomplish everything I thought I could get done when I set off on my goals at the earlier part of the year. And so I don't know about you, but I certainly can relate to those comments a lot. I do think it's natural as we get older, time seems to go by quicker. But what I really want us to focus on in this conversation is, how do you maximize the time that you have? Whether that's in your personal life or whether it's in your business life. Because you see, we all have the exact same amount of time in any given day. There's nobody who gets 25 hours a day and the rest of us only get 24, or there's not people who only get 20 and some of us get 24. We all are given the same amount of time every single day. And I have learned that to maximize the time that you have, you've got to pay attention to what you're doing really at all times. And I know for a lot of entrepreneurs, I'm going to be honest, for a lot of entrepreneurs, the thought of having a schedule in timing tasks and events seems very counterintuitive as to why we became entrepreneurs. So, we became entrepreneurs because we truly, genuinely want to experience freedom and flexibility. I will tell you, we do this great tool called a values elicitation, where we elicit values through the lens of business. So it's not like your moral compass values, it's your values through the lens of business. And 95% of the time for entrepreneurs, we find that freedom and flexibility is in their top 5. Usually it's in their top 3 values that they have. And a lot of times we mistake freedom and flexibility to be not having a schedule, being able to do whatever you want, and to just kind of take care, let me try that again, of tasks as they come up versus owning them at a really high level. So I know for myself, prior to being an entrepreneur in the real estate world and in the coaching world, I was with Marriott Hotels for a long time. And I worked for that organization, and it was a great time in my life. It just was not honoring that entrepreneurial spirit that I had. So when I left Marriott and I was in such a structured environment, because let's be honest, hotels run 365, 7 days a week, 24 hours a day. You really had to be on task because so many other people were depending on you. In that world, I think I spent 50% of my time in meetings and the other 50% trying to get done what I needed to get done. And in that slice of time, I was also dealing with guests and issues and making sure that things were running accordingly. So when I stepped out of that world back in 2001, first thing I did, and I'm going to date myself, some of you may not even know what this is, but I ditched my day planner. So for those of you under the age of probably 40, we used to have these paper calendars that we would carry around with us because we didn't have electronic devices that had our calendars on them. And our day planner was really how we organized our day. At Marriott, we had a very specific format that we would use, and it was extremely effective. So the first thing I did when I stepped out on my own to be an entrepreneur was I ditched my day planner because I was working for myself. I didn't feel the need to have to be tied down by a schedule. I mean, team, when I was in the hospitality industry in the full service world, my days would start at 5 a.m. and end somewhere between 10 p.m. and 1 a.m. And it was a very regimented schedule. So when I stepped out of that, I couldn't wait to just have total freedom and flexibility to do whatever I wanted. And in the beginning, it felt really good. And I felt like I finally had arrived. I mean, I could do whatever I wanted. Nobody was going to fire me. I could set my own schedule, show up when I wanted to show up. And I will tell you what actually ended up happening. Well, I felt like I had abundant freedom and flexibility. I wasn't getting anything done. I was not getting anything done because I wasn't holding myself accountable to getting something done in a certain amount of time. One of my favorite universal laws addresses this, and it is work expands to the time allowed. And I want you to think about that. I'm going to say that again. Work expands to the time allowed. So why wasn't I getting anything done when I first got into the real estate world was because I wasn't scheduling a beginning and an end time for a task. It just started whenever I wanted it to start. And I didn't have a deadline for it to end. So I just took as long as it needed to take. And to be really honest with you, it was a colossal waste of time. And it was truly eating into what I believed to be my freedom and flexibility. And I think the best example I can give of this work expands to the time allowed, so you really get it, is to think about the day before you go on a vacation. All right. So that day before you go on a vacation, if you're like me, you got a to-do list a mile long, and there's certain things that have to get done that day, because when you get on that plane the next morning or you head out on that long road trip, there are certain things that you can't do any longer because you're on vacation or you're away from home base. And so that day before you go on vacation, who other than me, at the end of the day, it's like, holy cow, I'm efficient. Like, I got so much stuff done. Well, the reason you got so much stuff done is because there was a distinct beginning and a distinct end time that if it didn't get done by the end of the day, it wasn't going to happen. And if it was important, you made sure to get it done because you had a compressed amount of time. Now, think about this. Let's just say we're going on vacation in 7 days. We know we're going on vacation in 7 days. How many of you start knowing that, hey, I got a lot of stuff to get done, but we really wait until that last day to really pour on the heat? That's really a great example of time. Work expands to the time allowed, because we allowed 7 days to get stuff done. And then all of a sudden we only could allow 8 or 12 hours to get stuff done because we're getting on a plane the next day. And we managed to perform at a really high level. So I want you to think about that. What task in your work, entrepreneur world, or even in your personal world, are you not getting done and you always feel like you've run out of time? I will guarantee you it's because you didn't put it on your calendar. And I know the word calendar and schedule sometimes can be off-putting to a lot of entrepreneurs, but I promise you, when you start to follow a schedule and a calendar and a to-do list, which again, I say this all the time, a calendar is simply your daily to-do list with times assigned to it. Until you start to own your time at a really high level, you're not going to get things done. You're just not. Or something that should have really only taken 20 minutes might eat up 3 hours of your day. And that is really not supporting you on your journey to freedom and flexibility. The other thing I would say to pay attention to is how many of you at the end of the day are finding yourself at night when you should be with your family or your friends or just enjoying your evening, are sitting with your laptop, your iPad, your electronic devices, doing some things that you had planned on getting done during the day. But if you were really honest with yourself and you looked at your calendar, they weren't on there. It was maybe a to-do item that just said to do this task, but it didn't say do this task between 1 and 1:30. It just said do the task. And now it's 8 o'clock at night, and it's important that you get it done. So you're sitting there doing work when if you just would have allowed yourself the 30 minutes on your calendar that day, you would actually have the freedom and flexibility in the evening to do whatever the heck you wanted. So if you just wanted to, binge watch something on Netflix, or you just wanted to hang out with your family, or just sit and have a glass of wine and sit outside, go for a walk by the beach, whatever it is, you're no longer able to do that because you didn't own your time. So I can't stress it enough. If you are feeling like you're not getting things done, if you feel like time is getting away from you, it's because you're not doing this one thing. Work expands to the time allowed. Now, for those of you who are listening to this podcast in real time, we're ending the year here. We're at the end of November, and most of us are starting to prepare for our upcoming year, whether it be personal goals or work goals. So the clients that I coach, we coach through the lens of business, and we're making plans for our 2024. If I'm honest with you, we did that about a month ago. However, the thing that we're doing differently that I'm going to invite you to think about is pay attention to this universal law: work expands to the time allowed. Because what we tend to do is say, okay, at the end of January, I didn't get done what I was supposed to do, but I got plenty of time. I got plenty of time, right? I mean, I've got until December 31st before the due date, and we fall into this trap of I have plenty of time, and we don't own our time at a high level. So what I'm asking my clients to do is to work in 90-day sprints, because we've got a distinct beginning and an end. And we've got a certain amount of time to get things done. So, let's say you just take your annual goal. You can divide it into 4 90-day sprints, or you can divide it into 3 90-day sprints and really compress your year to a 9-month year. But the beauty in doing this is you remove the fantasy in February that you've got plenty of time because you have until December. If we broke down your year into 90-day chunks, we don't have plenty of time. And we force work to happen in the time allowed. All right. So knowing that work expands to the time allowed, how much time are you allowing for it? I will tell you, I've started doing a lot of things in my life in sprints: a 6-week sprint, a 12-week sprint, a 90-day sprint, a 7-day sprint if it's an urgent task. Because I'm being hyper aware that if I assign a beginning and an end time to the task, I'm going to get it done, and I'm going to get it done more efficiently, and I'm going to feel really confident about it versus an ambiguous, I've got this year to get it done. So think about areas of your life that this could really help you out. It could be a weight loss goal. It could be an income goal. It could be a growing your business goal. If we broke it down into smaller chunks, work expands to the time allowed. And if I've only allowed 90 days versus 365, I'm actually able to perform at a higher level. And also, I'm only looking at a smaller portion of the goal, not the huge, overwhelming goal. So it does a couple mind hacks. But I will tell you, the one that it addresses head on is this universal law of work expands to the time allowed. So I'm going to invite you to just really be honest with yourself. Take a look at where you are in your year. Take a look at where you are in the week or the month or wherever you are on this journey. You may be listening to this in July. Don't know. But pay attention to, are you getting things done that are important? Are they running over and you're finding yourself in a panic trying to get them done? Or you're sitting at night or on a weekend when you should be enjoying your freedom and flexibility, and you're doing work that if you would have gotten done during the day or during the week would have served you at a really high level, and you could be experiencing more of a balance in life. So my friends, work expands to the time allowed. Hold yourself accountable. Remember, every task should have a start and an end time. And you may have to adjust it. You may in your brain think, oh my gosh, this task is going to take an hour. And you find out consistently it only takes 30 minutes. Great, change it. Or you may have scheduled something thinking this should take me 20 minutes. And over again, it's taking you a little bit longer. Just adjust it and honor that law. Start and end time. Be realistic. Hold yourself accountable. And I promise you, by doing this, you're going to feel more freedom and flexibility than ever before. So friends, thanks for being here with me today. As always, if you like what you heard, hit the thumbs up button. If you've got a question, you can always reach out to me, Tony at rethinkcoaching.com. Tony at rethinkcoaching.com. In the comment section below, there's a link if you want to book a consultation call with me free of charge. Feel free to book a call. Love to talk to you. If there's something that really caught your interest in this podcast or any of the other podcasts you've listened to of ours, click the button, schedule. I'd love to have a conversation with you. I'm on all the social media, Instagram, Tony M. Caliendo, Facebook, Tony Caliendo. You can find me pretty much anywhere if you've got the internet. I appreciate you all for being here. Go make it a great week, and we'll talk to you next week. Take care. If you enjoyed listening to this podcast, you must come check out the Mindset Architect Group Coaching Program. It's our monthly program where we explore the power of your mindset, help you identify what you truly want in business and life, and then help you reach those goals. Come check us out at rethinkcoaching.com/group-program. That's rethinkcoaching.com/group-program. We'll see you there.